Bonjour, Céline.
Bonjour.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Wonderful. Lovely. Well, I'll crack on in which case for MUBI. Now, could you tell me, so the initial idea for this began before Portrait of a Lady on Fire. What did that initial idea look like to you?
Well, it's just struck me as a scene. It was just a scene, an image. It was two little girls in the woods building a treehouse together, 8 years old, but one is the mother and one is the daughter. And this idea felt obvious and troubling. This scene is the matrix of the whole film. And, you know, I was at the intersection of writing Portrait of a Lady on Fire and promoting my life as a courgette or a zucchini. Felt really, really much connected to, the gratitude and how much I'd learned because I wrote for kids for the first time. And also was struggling with the writing of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which is a film I gave up on several times because it was a very difficult writing. And this felt like a soothing idea to think about, maybe for years, which is what happened. And the script just built up in my mind, during when I was thinking about something else. And it just felt like, oh, this is my next project. It was actually the first time that in my, life I knew what I was going to do after. And the desire kept growing for the film. And so when I ended my world tour with Portrait of a Lady on Fire, I wrote it immediately, not actually thinking that I would make it that fast. But then the pandemic started, and the film, what it was dealing with, what it was talking about, which is also, loss, impossible goodbyes, elders and kids being emotionally challenged. This all felt urgent. This all felt very contemporary. So this story that had this mythological side that felt timeless, universal, suddenly also had the qualities of a very contemporary tale. So that made me go as fast as possible so that we could, give an audience a film that they would feel connected to emotionally after going through all this. And also a film that we could put in cinema when cinema would reopen and, to participate into this effort. So we went really, really fast. We shot, I wrote the film in June and we shot it in October, September even. And it was in Berlin in March. So it was very, very, we went very fast.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you've spoken about the environment that you wrote the film in and how it feels very contemporary. But I wondered what you wanted this film to say about the intergenerational relationships between women.
Well, first I just wanted to show it, which is not that common. I wanted to depart from the duo of the mother-daughter and really look at the trio, which feels right. And a trio of a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter, and to look at that trio, but also to abolish the classical hierarchy that there is, and to look at it through a lens of equality between a mother and a daughter, rather than some form of hierarchy. So, bringing horizontality to family relationship is a twist that maybe the magic of the film, actually, maybe the magic trick of the film. And that's also why I wanted to have sisters to play the two leads. It's because I wanted the casting to already subvert the hierarchy between mother-daughter and even grandmother. Because my own personal take on this story was like, if I met my mother at 8, would she be my sister? And would we share the same mother? That would be my grandmother and a mother. And yeah, the film was dealing with very simple, minimalistic ideas, but it's giving them the full range with the tools of cinema, which is, you know, actresses, set, studio, and believing in this very simple situation and giving it all its trouble in a way.
I wanted to talk about those two magnificent performers at the heart of this film, Josephine and Gabrielle. How did you find them, and how would you describe your collaboration working with them?
Well, I'm working with the same casting directors for all my films now. So I mean, I trust her like I trust my DP. You know, it's fun because casting is always about, oh, how many people did you see? And I mean, when I'm talking to my DP about lighting, you know, we're not looking at 1,000 options there, and I trust them. I trust her with her job. And I tend to do the same thing with my casting director, which means that I'm looking at a proposal. Like, for instance, for the grandmother, she had an idea. We went with that idea. The mother was one idea. We went for that idea. I saw two dads. And then for the kids, I only saw them. She saw like dozens of kids, and then she met them, and she was like, I think this is going to be amazing. And I just met them, and it was, obvious that, you know, if they wanted to, if there was something at stake for them in that film, well, it would be a great collaboration. So, you know, I think for me, casting is really about putting an idea in the world. And it's also my fifth film, so, and I've been working with kids before, so I'm lucky enough that kids that come to my casting, they're not coming to casting for cinema. They're coming because they've seen Tomboy, they've seen My Life as a Courgette, so they come for that kind of cinema. And I'm lucky to, you know, have that experience, because it really becomes about meeting people. You know, it's not about searching for them. It's really also about just welcoming the, you know, you put an idea out there and then you have like strong response. And we didn't rehearse. I saw them once, and then we read the whole script together, and they knew that I wanted them to do the film, and we read the whole script, and then they said yes. And we didn't rehearse. I'm the costume designer of the film, so our relationship was also built on this approach of dressing them, building those characters through costumes, see if they felt good, you know, building trust in like, you're gonna look good, and you know, this kind of this kind of dialogue, and then it all happens on the sets, which is really, really a lot of pressure, because it's well, you only have 3 hours a day to shoot, which is, you know, really fair. It's fair to their actual biorhythm, you know, like 3 hours is enough. But it means you have to be very accurate, you have to be ready, and that's why studio is also it was also really convenient here, because then you have all the lights, they're ready, and then they get in, and it's all about, you know, getting the scene. And, you know, working with kids is first days, you also just watch them discover cinema and grow and get very competent in understanding the words, the relationship, the work. And that's an amazing experience because it goes so fast. You know, in a day, in a matter of a day, they know how to walk into a tracking shock, they know. And so it's also a way to really de-dramatize cinema, you know, and the film was all about that also, you know. And we were shooting during the second lockdown in France, during this whole thing, and it felt like, you know, it's not that important. You know, it should be lighthearted, it should be fun, and it was. And And then, working with kids, I don't find it that different than working with adults. For me, it's not about the relationship you're going to build. It's not about, because otherwise, you would imagine, I don't know, people have really romantic idea of what relationship is with actors. You would have to talk for hours about characters and stuff like that. No, that's my characters. They don't even have names, so they don't exist. I'm not a character-driven director at all. So then I'm not giving them backstories that you don't have. They have it's really about cinema. We talk about cinema, and we talk about sharing the brain of the film, so that they understand fully all the ideas that are in there. And there it's locally building up on those ideas in each scene. And whether you're working with Adèle Haenel or with Joséphine Sanz, it's always about, okay, so that's the space, this is the past, you're going to have to work through this. And just, building it up, together, live. And it's always talking about cinema, that I must insist, because, and especially also it's with kids, so it's not about their emotions, it's not about how they feel. There's no actor studio for kids, especially because they've had experience, they have the lifespan to actually convoke their own feelings, but it shouldn't be about that. It should be about their ideas for cinema, their proposition. And so, I don't know, for instance, in the scene where she's spying, she's trying to find who's this little girl, she's looking for clues. It's not about you're scared that she's your mother. No, it's about, this is a spy film. So it's about the rhythm, it's about the body, the attitude. And it's also a lot about live interaction, because I talk to them all the time. They're not alone in this. So whether it's about attitudes or adding a line, or I'm whispering and always being close, so that's it's a lot also about the moment and the ideas we have on the moment. And that's also why I love to work with kids. It's because they are so connected that you can really suggest things live that they will do with a lot of grace.
Wonderful. I love this idea of a collective brain within a film that you have, and collaboration is clearly incredibly important to you. But I wondered, how do you preserve your voice in your writing and your filmmaking? Because that feels like such a constant throughout your body of work.
My solution, I don't know if it's mine, is a matter of scale. It's a matter of scale. I tend to keep production low-key, so that I don't have to compromise with what's expected, what would be expected of a film, trying to keep it light. And I think also, a good way to be uncompromising is actually sharing ideas. It's not about keeping your ideas to yourself as a secret that, is your own agenda, and then the other people, they're going to corrupt this. Cinema is very collaborative. So, I tend to, share the ideas, be really, really clear about the ideas that are, that I'm playing with, even the ones that are personal. So it's really about sharing ideas about cinema, and then you're not going to lose them. People are just going to build up on them. So, I think, not to lose yourself, you have to be very, very clear with, and very, very open to teamwork. It's a paradox, but it's not one, because that's how we make films. So, yeah.
What are you intending or hoping that people will take away from this film?
I tend to see the films as a consolation. I think that's a global thing within all my films. And cinema as some form of consolation. And the film is 1 hour and 10 minutes, but I consider it an experience of 24 hours. That includes your night of sleep. When I did Portrait of a Lady on Fire, I wanted to console people from their lost love. I wanted to shift perspective on lost love or eternal love. And with this film, it's really a way to create a new space in your mind, a new imaginary tool to actually heal, understand your family, your parents better. And the film is built kind of like with this magic idea within, that this story is then yours, and that it's a new architecture, it's a new tool, it's a new way for you to project yourself into situation, then also to heal from situation. I have a friend who told me that, now when she's like angry with her father, she just pictures herself building a tree house with him, and then things are better. And we've been healing, trying to heal, trying to understand ourselves, through fiction all the time. Even when you go to therapy, it's about Oedipus, it's about killing your dad and wanting to sleep with your mother. So it's about rivalry in the family. And we're all trying to understand, to deconstruct and to heal through the story of rivalry, for instance. What if, with Petite Maman, we're putting a new mythology up there, which is equality within the family? So what if you meet your mother as a kid and you understand that you're not responsible for her sadness, for instance, So yeah, for me, it's a way to bring new imaginary, new consolation, and even new healing mythologies, because that's what fiction is also for.
Lovely. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.